The Kick-On Cup is up for grabs. Scotland versus Ireland. This is gonna be huge. Last time Scotland won this fixture was 8 years ago, back in 2017. Ireland have Scotland's number in recent years. Can they keep it that way? Let me know in the comments how you think this game is going to go. Who's going to win it? What's your score prediction going to be? Who's going to score a double? Who's going to score points? How is Ireland going to win it? How is Scotland going to win it? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. So, firstly, why the Kick-On Cup? Well, I'm only covering Scotland and Ireland this year for the 6 Nations, and these two teams are playing this weekend. So they're playing for the Kick-On Cup. Let's go. I'd love to be able to read the teams, but teams have not been announced yet. It's Friday here in Australia, and I don't have the teams yet. And I want to get this preview out before the weekend starts. So we can kind of make and guess and match and what we think the team's going to look like, but I don't have the teams out yet. When the teams do come out, I'll talk about it in the comments. We'll go do some matchups, and this is obviously matchups. It's a bit of speculation as well, but we can kind of guess what the teams are going to look like. So big matchups for me will be in the front row, right? Andrew Porter, I'm guessing Dan Sheehan coming back into the squad, and then either Finlay Bealham or if Tide Furlong is ready to go again. But Finlay Bealham played really well last weekend. And then you look at the other side of it, Scotland with Ferguson, Skuman, and Cherry. Really, really good. That scrum battle is going to be immense. I think both front rows played out of their skin last week, and now they'll come up against very similar opponents, and it's going to be a battle. And I'm starting to love the battles up front. Again, I'm still not too clued up on the dark arts up front, but I'm starting to love it. Another big matchup for me, I think, is going to be the locks or just line-out time. While Ireland did really well in the line-outs last weekend, I think they set a 6 Nations record for 23 from 23 line-outs or something silly like that. England didn't compete much. I think it's going to be a different ball game for Scotland where they'll compete. If they've got guys like Jamie Ritchie, then Johnny Gray, Scott Cummings, Cummings, the other lock. These guys will compete. Knowing how often or how important a line-out is to Ireland to set up their phase play, they use it to get over the advantage line. They use it to play lots of little different moves from. Very, very important for them. It's such an attacking threat. I think you have to compete at the lineouts, try and disrupt them. You don't want to just give them lineouts that easily. And I think they will compete at lineout time. Scotland will. Then Van der Fleer versus Rory Darge. Two very similar style players. I'm probably picking. Yeah, it's so close. Who'd you pick to go on Lions tour? You're probably picking Van der Fleer, like a little bit above Darge. Rory Darge played out of his skin last week versus Italy. When he gets his hands on a ball at ruck time, it is so hard to get him off them, and he's all over the park, making a ton of tackles. Work rate is through the roof, and you could say the same for Van der Fleer. So that I'm looking forward to that little matchup. And who will go one up on each other there. Then, of course, and it doesn't matter what teams are playing, it is always a massive matchup, and that's the 10s, the fly-offs. You've got Finn Russell, who's locked in. That's for Scotland. And then you've got Prendergast or Crowley again. Look, while Prendergast and Crowley, Prendergast probably didn't have his best game last week. It was his first match ever in the 6 Nations. Crowley came on and played really well. Prendergast played early on in the game where Ireland was struggling to get into the flow of things. Later on in the game, they started clicking. I don't think Prendergast did anything to warrant being dropped. So I'm going to talk about Prendergast starting. Prendergast versus Russell. It's It's one of the best versed, one of the best up and coming fly halves, dictating, option taking, kicking, very, very important. Prendergast wasn't the best off the boot last week. I think he 1 from 3, where Finn Russell was a little bit better off the boot, but Finn Russell also made a lot of errors last week. Through that intercept pass, it was 3 or 4 offloads that didn't go to hand. Things like that, you have to be on song. You're playing in these big games, you'll have to be on song. And whoever's forwards go forward, I think will make their lives, the 10's lives, a hell of a lot easier. And then I'm looking at the wings. You've got Darcy Graham and Duan van der Merwe, and then you've got James Lowe and Mac Hansen. Mac Hansen had a nasty gash he did end up playing still pretty much the whole game. Could we see a change there? Maybe not. Maybe Calvin Nash, but I'm going to go James Lowe and Mac Hansen. Man, this is 4 of the best wingers in world rugby just clashing horns. How good is this going to be? Looking at their finishing ability, how well they impacted the games last week. James Lowe, 2 try assists. Darcy Graham had a try assist. Duan van der Merwe had a try assist. It's big. It's huge. Mac Hansen played really well last weekend as well. That's going to be massive matchups there. And then where I think the game will be won or lost, I kind of mentioned it in the matchups. I think the set piece is going to be huge. So scrums, obviously winning your own ball, but then putting pressure on when it's the opposition's ball, really targeting the scrums. Lineout is going to be huge. I don't think Scotland are just going to let Ireland get the lineouts like England did. Not a good idea, I don't think, because how Ireland throw or start at least their attack shape off lineouts, it's one of your most important attacking set piece or platforms. The defensive line is 20 meters back from your attacking line. You've got so much space to do moves or to get over that vantage line. And we know what Ireland do when they get over that vantage line. They can bring those beautiful second phase plays into it, where James Lowe went straight through there last weekend, or when you saw back last year versus the Springboks, they did their little moves to go through, and they love that. You want to disrupt their line out so they can't get into that flow. Turning opportunities into points. How many tries did Ireland butcher last weekend? If Ireland are scoring 2 or 3 of those 4 or 5 opportunities missed last weekend, they're beating any team. You want to be doing that versus teams like Scotland and France coming on later in the championship. Scotland, yes, I think they turned their opportunities into points for sure versus Italy last weekend, but they also gave away a lot of penalties. You don't want to be doing that versus a team like Ireland, because they will punish you. That's something that Scotland need to really hone in on, is not giving away that many penalties. The physical battle up front is going to be immense. Ruck time, tackles, carrying the ball, getting over the advantage line, targeting isolated rucks, so disrupting your opponent's ball, slowing down their ball. That's going to be huge, and it just stops the opposition's momentum. You think you're getting a roll on, the fluff has hit the first play for that first ruck. Yep, you're setting up, you go again, you want quick ball, but Rory Dodge is slowing the ball down. Josh van der Fleer has stolen the ball. That's what it's going to change. It'll change the momentum of the game massively. And you're looking at guys like Rory Dodge and van der Fleer to do that. And then staying in the game for the full 80 minutes. Or at least when you have the momentum, turning that into points. We saw last weekend where Ireland definitely weren't in the game for the full 80 minutes. And when they did get that momentum, they turned it on and scored the points. You're looking at the Scotland-Italy game. There was a chunk there where Scotland weren't in the game, and it was 19-all. At any point then, Italy could have taken the lead and run away with it. Not necessarily run away with the game, but put more points on. So it's either staying in the game for full 80, or when you have the momentum, Ride with it. Put points on the board and then defend your asses off. It's going to be huge. The Kick-On Cup. How good. Prediction, I'm going to go Ireland. I'm going to go Ireland. Ireland by 12 to 15 points. I think last week they ironed out those bits of creases, and this week they're going to come out firing. Scotland haven't beaten Ireland since 2017, and I don't know if that'll happen again this year. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What is your score prediction? How do you see this game going? Hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.